The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Cowboys StoryLine, brought to you by Gillette, the official razor of the Dallas Cowboys. Here's Nick Eatman.
What's up? Welcome to Cowboys Storyline. It is September the 5th, Friday. Doesn't feel like a Friday. Doesn't feel like anything right now. Kind of numb. It's a long night, long morning. I'm not going to complain too much. Chris Beam's down. This is like show number 3 for him. But let's talk this thing through. Cowboys lose a tough one, 24-20 to the Eagles. Should they have won? Could they have won? Definitely. I know that answer. Should they have won? I think that's something we all can debate. But they were there, and that's why, as I wrote in my column, that this one hurts because they had it. They had chances, and you put the ball in the hands of your best players, and you hope it stays there, and it didn't too many times, and CD obviously took. He took the blame for it, and it was more than just that. But, when they went up there, the Cowboys went up there, I thought they were prepared, scoring touchdowns on the first 2 drives of the season, running the ball in from the 1-yard line, getting everybody involved. But like we thought with, when you trade away Micah Parsons, and Kenny Clark is going to be fine in the middle, and I thought they did an okay job there, especially in the second half and stopping the run. But they missed the pass rush, and they're going to miss that all year long until somebody steps up. But you can't just be sending corner blitzes all the time and expect to get home. That was a problem, and I thought it was one of the differences in the game. Jalen Hurts really. He was tough. The Eagles are tough. We know that, but I don't know. We'll let you guys decipher on what you think. From a positive standpoint on what you saw from the game. There were certainly some positive things to take from it, and I think when you talk about a 17-game season, are they moving in the right direction? And I don't know how you could say that they're not. So good first start. Obviously not what you wanted because they had chances to win and they didn't make the plays at the end. All right, let's go to the phones. Let's go Zach in Atlanta. He's first.
Hey, good morning, Nick in Frisco. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay, man. What else is there to say but spitty weather, tough spit. Not to make light of the Jalen Carter thing. That's unexcusable. Terrible way to start the season. But, the Cowboys were given a gift in him being ejected, and I feel like they were able to run the ball for a good bit, but just didn't capitalize on that opportunity. And if we're calling this Cowboys storyline, I think the storyline is the drops from CD. He's the best player on your team now that Mike is gone, and you expect him to show up. I know he took accountability. He holds himself to that standard. But there were encouraging things. I did not think it was going to be that close. You would have liked to have that opening night in their house, their Super Bowl banner night, and just didn't seize every opportunity. But like you said, long season. The play calling was fun. It wasn't vanilla, which I appreciate. And, we'll see. We need some help on the pass rush. And at the linebacker area, Overshone is needed. Some of the young guys hopefully can step up. But shout out to you, shout out to Beam, shout out to all y'all doing the pods today because I know it was a long night. So shout out Cowboys Nation. It's going to be a fun year. Let's do it.
All right.
Later.
Thank you, Zach. Appreciate that. And, week one is always – it's always a challenge to kind of figure out what you have and I always, you guys have heard it. I always say week 2 is so important because you really need to build off of a win or definitely get a win if you've lost the first game. So I'm anxious to see that what happens next week against the Giants. it's an early must-win situation, in my opinion, just because with the division, boy, you really can't go down 0-2. But when you just Zach, you just said the linebackers and the pass rush and everything. These are the things that need to be fixed, and you might be right. I just want to see what happens with you're not facing Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, and Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert in an offensive line that's pretty good. That's who they are. I mean, they're the world champs, and I should have put Jahan Dotson in there because he made one of the biggest plays of the game there in the second quarter with a long pass. So it's early, obviously, for the panic button and all that stuff. But I think the defense is going to be fine, but that's fine's not necessarily good enough. I mean, they're going to be fine, but I want to see them really, take it to another level and be dominant. All right, let's go to Anthony in Miami.
Nick the Quick, what's up, my guy?
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing, Nick?
I'm good.
All right. I heard your commentary just then, and I think the Cowboys will be fine. Number one thing, you take a guy like Kenny Clark. He made a big difference in that game. And I'm not saying he's going to replace Micah. All you needed was a Kenny Clark with Micah. That's what makes the defense special, the defensive line. So now you know what you got to get on the outside edge. You know what I'm saying? If you can ever luck up into a player like Micah with a Kenny Clark or another guy like that, you got something. I don't believe in moral victories, only when little kids are concerned. So I'm not demoralized, though. You made second-half adjustments. We never do that. We lack in that. On defense, you made second-half adjustments. You played damn good in the second half. You had a couple of drop balls. You had a fumble, and that kind of turned the tide of the game right there. You were in the game. You played against the world champs. Best damn defense almost. Best defensive line, second best after the Giants maybe. Offensive line number one. I'm happy at what you did. Dak, my quarterback, you know what I'm saying, takes all this stuff, man. This man stood in the pocket. This man saved the doggone game with a tackle, and this man dropped some dimes that, a couple people, Jake dropped one, CD dropped a couple. Okay, that happens. You did it in the first game. You did it against the world champs. Now let's move forward. You have to beat the Giants. You know the defense is vaunted, the defensive line. You pass protect. I think you'll beat the Giants by 10. That's all I got to say. People, hold your head up high, man. Your Cowboys did good.
Yeah.
Talk to you next week,
right.
Nick.
All right, Anthony. I don't disagree with anything that you said there. I mean, other than I do believe in moral victories. I don't think that's the standard, obviously, but and I think and Shadi said after the game that there are no moral victories. I'm not arguing with him, but in my take and from what I saw, I felt like it was, and I'm fine with that. This, like you said, Anthony said it. It's world champs, first game of the season. This is the team that blew you out by 30 points both games last year. Without Dak, is Dak going to make that much of a difference? Is Pickens, is this team, is Shadi, is all the changes going to make that much of a difference? And yeah, I mean, it definitely seemed to do so. And Jalen Carter's a great player, but I mean, I still kind of think that's kind of what it would have been. I mean, they may not have scored on first down from the 1 yard line, but they're probably going to score. So I think, I look at that and I talked to a few players and they walked out and you could just see it. You could see it in them nodding their head and be like, we're going to be all right. I talked to like 2 or 3 of the veteran players. We're all right. So that to me is I don't care about that term. We could just throw that term out, but I know this, morale is high. And Anthony, you said it, you're not demoralized. So morale is high. Confidence is going to be high going into this Giants game. And I think that, they, like I said it, I've said it a couple times, they did not win the game. We know that. Did they take a step forward? I definitely believe so. And I think that we all can tell that they might have a little something here this year. I mean, you're not going to face an offense with like 5 different weapons like that. I thought they did a pretty good job, especially in the second half. Holding them to a field goal in the second half. you would have thought that probably would be enough to win the game, but the Eagles' defense was even better on their end. All right, let's go to Mike. He's in Birmingham, England.
Hey, Nick, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Mike?
I'm good, thank you. Probably round about as tired as you because I was up in the night in the night watching it, so probably had a similar amount of sleep to you. And Nick, can I just? I probably speak for most people when I say this. That was so frustrating. We were so close, and we had them. And oh man, but that's as negative as I'm going to be because I'm feeling good about what I saw yesterday.
Both things can be right. Mike, both things can be true. You can be frustrated, and you can still feel good about the team. But that's why. That's why, you're frustrated because this wasn't about just staying close. This was a chance to win. And so, you got to be frustrated by that.
That's exactly right. And, I heard the tail end of your comments just now about, last season and being blown out by 30 points. My expectation of this year, whatever is going to happen at the end of the season will happen, but my minimum expectation this year is progress. And boy, this is massive progress, And if our biggest problem last night was CD Lamb can't catch, well, then I'll take that because CD Lamb, if he stays his whole career with the Cowboys, he's going to win us 100 games. He's not going to have many games like that. So I'm not worried about CD at all. And, he doesn't need the support of a 50-year-old Englishman that's never played the game, but he's got it. CD will be absolutely fine. And just wanted to say as well, it's inevitable that people were talking about Micah, especially in the first half when we weren't getting through to Hurts. Would Micah have improved that? Yeah, probably. But what would have improved it is Micah and Kenny Clark in the same team, and that was never an option. And I really like what I saw in the middle yesterday. I really like the fact, Saquon is as good as they come at running back, and we kept him quiet. So that's all I got. I'm feeling good. Right. Bring on the Giants, and let's have a great season.
All right, thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
And you say bring on the Giants, and my first thought was, well, got to wait a little bit. That's a good thing. The Cowboys had to play early, obviously, on Thursday night, but now you get 10 days. And they didn't seem too banged up. Maybe just C.J. Goodwin or something like that, and he even came back. So I think they got out of the game pretty clean. So, that's – and then you're right. You got the Giants game coming up. But I do think – like you're saying, I mean, it's okay to be frustrated by that, and CD Lamb's gonna be fine. But I thought overall, when I look at some of those guys that played that first game, Kenny Clark, they're gonna be okay stopping the run, and it's not always gonna be Barkley. I mean, I sat next to Derek Eagleton, like I always do, and we several times, maybe 5, 6, 7 times, where from our view in the press box, it's not bad. It's not the best, but you're up there a little bit, and you see the guys rally the ball, they make the tackle and all that, and he's like, all right, 4-yard gain, Barkley, 2nd and 6. You're like, 4 yards? Like it felt like it was 1 or maybe no gain, but he's so good at just getting extra yards, and on the flip side, Javonte Williams did that a couple times too, where he was getting good yardage on first down, but Barkley, man, it's just so tough. I mean, sometimes they get him right there at the hole, and he still spins and jukes here and kind of dips under and gets 5 yards, and it's like and that puts their offense in such great shape when that happens. All right, let's go to Irwin. He's in Colorado.
Hey, good morning, Nick. How you doing?
Good. How are you, Irwin?
I'm doing great. Hey, just want to touch on a couple things. I won't take too long because I know you probably got a lot of callers. But I thought I really think that all Cowboy fans should really be encouraged for what they saw last night. I know it wasn't the outcome that we would all like to see. But just a couple things. One thing for sure, I would have loved to have seen Blue, the running back, in there instead of Sanders. I know they're thinking experience and everything, but I just think Blue gives that extra, speed element. And I don't believe he would have been caught from behind like that on that breakaway run.
No.
And then the other thing is, I really think that the Cowboys I don't know what's going on with our tight ends, but Ferguson should have caught that ball. I know he got popped pretty good, but he actually had his hands on that ball. He really should have scored and caught that touchdown. And I just think our offense is missing that element with a really impact tight end. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
All right. Thanks for the call. The Cowboys gave him a pretty nice contract, so he's the guy at tight end. That's not one. I mean, if we're talking about the same play, the one where they got flagged for the Eagles got flagged for targeting or hitting a defenseless receiver, same thing really. But that was one where I don't really fault them for that. I mean, I didn't look at that. I mean, mainly I was more like, is he okay? Is he alive? I mean, like, that was a huge hit. But I will say that the tight ends they don't have that dynamic pass catcher. They've got some guys that are big, and they're gonna Spanford and Spoonmaker both are pretty good in the run game, blocking and all that. But down the seam, I mean, that was the play that was there several times, and Dak went for it, and he just missed a couple times. The ball just needed to be higher. But another point you made about Jaden Blue, I mean, the knock on Jaden Blue in college was that he fumbled. Super fast, pretty good running inside the tackles and willing blocker, but he'd have an occasional fumble. Well, for him not to play, Miles Sanders plays in the game, and here he is, gets a 49-yard run and gets walked by a linebacker and then fumbles a couple plays later, then you're like, yeah, I can see where everyone would be like, all right, well, why? Tell me again why we're not playing Jaden Blue? Because Miles Sanders is not the veteran back, because you have that in Javonte Williams. You need a speed element. And I even said it at one point in the game. This is where I'd like to see Jaden Blue. I've seen, I've seen Javonte Williams. I just think that he gives you more of that thunder and lightning, if you will. I think Sanders is kind of in between both of them, but I think you've got completely different backs. And back to what you had, 4 or 5 years ago with Zeke and Tony Pollard, and that was a pretty good 1-2 punch because of how different they were as runners. And I would imagine you're going to see Jaden Blue sooner than later. I would think they probably do it next week. All right, let's go. Let's go to Chris. He's in Saratoga Springs, New York.
Hey Nick, how are you?
Good. How are you doing, Chris?
A little tired from last night. It was a long game with that delay.
Sure. But what's funny?
Start off a little.
I'll say this though: we were supposed to get in at 3:55 a.m. That's when we were supposed to land. How long was the delay? Hour? 45 minutes?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. We got in. I mean, We landed at the 4:04. So I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know if we were speeding in the air. I don't know, but it wasn't that much of a difference. But anyways, what you got, man?
Definitely encouraged. I want to give a shout out to the coaching staff, to be honest. I mean,
that's a first.
They were prepped. They were ready to play. Normally I always make an excuse of the coaching, and they didn't have them ready to play. Shoddy had them. He had them ready.
Yeah.
The defense made adjustments after the second half, which we never do. So I want to give definitely a shout out to Shoddy. I think he did a great job getting these guys ready. Like all NFL games, it comes down to a couple plays every game, and we make a couple of these plays. CD makes a couple of these catches. The game, it's a different outcome of the game. But definitely encouraged with the coaching aspect of it. I think the defensive line played outstanding in the second half. I also think, coming down the pipe, when we get Overshawn back, he's going to make a huge difference that second game versus Philly, because I don't see Hurts doing what he did, hurting us that bad with Overshawn in the game, because he's a freak. So I really think getting him back that second game will definitely help us. Last thing, I guess, I wanted to point out is Mozzie being inactive. That's a huge telltale for me, him not being active this game. What are your thoughts on him moving forward?
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Chris. In the pregame show, I asked Stephen Jones that question about Mozzie being inactive, and Stephen said that we're gonna need him throughout the year. It didn't sound like it was one of those where like you're the 53rd guy on the roster or whatever. Just thought from this matchup right now and for this particular game that but let's not mistake the fact that Jay Toya is playing over him. 7th round pick, UCLA. He's playing in the game. He was active. Speaking of that position, I thought Solomon Thomas was very active. As far as just being in there and playing and playing behind the line of scrimmage. He did a nice job. But if I'm going to get, you don't give game balls or anything like that, but the guys that really were impressive to me, I got to give it up to Trayvon Diggs. He hasn't practiced much at all, and it's been so much has been talked about, and the rehab coming back from a knee injury, and was he going to be ready? And he wasn't here, and he took $500,000 hit to forego his bonus so he could work out somewhere else. And there was obviously a lot of tension, and of course, his best friend on the team seems to be Micah Parsons, and so all of this kind of hanging on it now. It's like, well, focus on Trayvon. Are you going to be able to play this game? And it's a great matchup, and we didn't hear anything about him, and that's a good thing for a corner. And I even asked him after the game. I certainly won't repeat what he said, but he basically said, yeah, the Eagles didn't throw at him much. And that's what a great sign that is, because cornerback, about 3 weeks ago, you're like, man, who's going to play corner? This position doesn't look good at all. But Diggs comes back in and plays the way he did. Diggs, Elam, Bland. That's a pretty good trio of corners. Maybe even top 10 in the league as far as, certainly they're getting paid that way. But I think from 1 to 3 at cornerback, that's not bad, because if we're really being honest about it, the pass rush wasn't that great at all in the first half, and yet they still were holding up, and they still covered pretty well. So I got to give a shout out to Trayvon Diggs and the secondary. I thought did a pretty good job. All right, before we go to break, let's go to Rob in Vegas, see what Rob has to say.
Hey, Nick.
Hey, Rob.
Listen, I better than expected. I thought defensively, the defensive line looks different. They weren't getting pushed around. Nealon played really good. Mm-hmm. Solomon Thomas, Kenny Clark. I think the outside, Fowler missed a few plays, and I think Donovan Ezaraku is not ready yet. Even in preseason, he's playing against men now, and I think he's a little light. I thought when they put Houston in,
yeah,
and Sam Williams, I thought played.
Yeah,
Sam Williams played excellent.
Yeah.
Let's stop with the Damone Clark. Get him off the field. He should only be on special. He's not a willing tackler. One thing about Maris Liufau is he may be a smaller linebacker, but he's going to come up and hit you. Mm-hmm. That's the guy that should be on the field. I agree. When you hold Saquon to 60 and you hold A.J. Brown to 1 catch, you got to win that game.
Win.
Unfortunately, offensively, I thought Dak threw the ball great. I think he threw the ball so good. I don't know if it caught CD. He was dropping the ball when you see it on TV. How the ball would just come right over these are tough catches. And I know we talk about preseason, but to me, a boxer doesn't get into the ring, he spars first. These guys are now playing full speed. They're seeing colors flash across their eyes. They're in, especially a couple of the CD plays where it's in the middle of the field, there's people around, and did they lose because of that? I think so.
Yeah.
Now, coaching, I thought Schottenheimer called a good game until 3 minutes, and then I think he panicked. With 3 minutes left and 3 timeouts, they panicked. They should have ran the ball some. They were running the ball good. I think Williams to me, he looked really good since I had never seen him.
Never seen him.
To be
yeah,
honest,
yeah.
I thought he looked really good, and I think he panicked a little bit. I think they could have ran the ball more.
You know, it's funny, Rob, that you're talking 3 minutes to go in the game, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I actually really hated the calls 3 minutes to go in the first half. I didn't like the way they pass. To me, because the Eagles went right down and got a touchdown. And I'm looking at that like, hey, you've got to make sure that you get to the 2-minute warning. Run. And they didn't do that. So
you got to know the situation.
So 3 minute.
You see the flow of the game.
Yeah, both of those. But we don't give anybody excuses. But like you said, and it's not excuses. It's just the reason that certain things are the way they are. But I mean, his first game, calling the plays and all the emotions in there, there's going to be some issues. But I thought overall, I got to give credit to the way Shoddy had the team prepared and all that. Yeah.
To me, the difference in the game is Jalen Hurts versus Dak. And the difference is Jalen Hurts will use everything in his toolbox. His legs is what won the game.
Yes.
Dak doesn't run. We hear it. He's going to say, I'm going to run more. They may practice like he's going to run more, but he does not. And so that makes it easier on the defense. That was the whole difference of the game. We would get close to Jalen. He'd break out. And he's a stout guy. You're not going to bang into him and he's going to fall down. And I just think that's what makes him so good. He's not a great thrower of the ball, but all around, he's just going to do whatever it takes to get the job done.
Yeah.
And as a Cowboy fan, I hate that.
I know. Rob, I remember when you guys came out to training camp, and I remember sitting out. We were kind of all, at night at one of those establishments out there in Oxnard, and
yes.
you said, you know where I'm going with this, right? You said that if they play, well, even if they don't win, you're going to be encouraged. And I mean, what you were saying then, and all the people around you were surprised to hear you say that. But what you described was pretty much how it played out last night. Do you agree?
Yes. I thought they were going to lose by at least 10.
Yeah.
I thought they were a better team all around. And I think that's probably why they're pissed. I thought they were a better team. Jalen Hurts was the only one that was really hurting us. Even Saquon, I thought they controlled him. I thought Dak, I thought they were a better team. Now, obviously, it's only week 1, and we always, let's see what happens in week 2. But I'm encouraged. Listen, I'm a fan. I got 16 more weeks of this. I got to be encouraged, but I am. I truly am. I'm not just being fandom.
Yeah, no,
They were better than I thought. I think the pass rush. I think Sam Williams needs to be your guy, and I think Donovan, you need to put him in, but he can't be on the end as much. He's just a little too light in the pants. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, he'll get there. I think over time, and I see the same thing. It might be the number too. 41 just seems like. I mean, it just seems like it's Terrence Newman just off the edge. All right, Rob. Thanks for the call. I know everybody wants to hear from you, and I figured that you would kind of have those sentiments there about obviously chances to win, should have won, and not played them at times, and so that's why it kind of stings. But still, when big picture wise, it's good. Let's take a break here. We got another captain on the line, so we're gonna get to him in just a second. We'll be right back on StoryLine.
Crown Royal and the Dallas Cowboys are bringing back the Royal Rig for Season 2. See it in action at AT&T Stadium on Thanksgiving Day, where the Dallas Cowboys take on the Kansas City Chiefs, and around Dallas on November 26th and November 28th. Visit crownroyal.com to see where else the Royal Rig is stopping this NFL season. That's crownroyal.com. Please drink responsibly.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Altec Lansing has been perfecting sound since 1927, bringing you decades of audio excellence to elevate your Dallas Cowboys tailgate ritual. Equip your next pregame with the Sound Rover 180 with 6 hours of playtime, built-in microphone, multicolor light modes, and a rugged exterior that's built to last. Visit alteclansing.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off your Sound Rover 180. That's ALTECLANSING.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off. Altec Lansing, official audio partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Cowboys Storyline.
We're looking for the 2025 Fan of the Year presented by Captain Morgan. Now through September 29th, you can nominate extraordinary NFL fans with a chance to win a trip to Super Bowl 60. Enter to win at NFL.com/Fan of the Year. All right, back here on Cowboys Storyline. Cowboys take a tough loss to Philly, 24-20. It looked different, felt different. The result wasn't. They still lost the game, but it still had those vibes of the last time the Cowboys played that Thursday game against the defending champions, and they did that in Tampa Bay. And another similar aspect to that was when Dak was coming back from an injury in that game and missed most of the season, and that was his first game back, and he played great, and they lost the game at the end, but they went on, and they had that look in their eye. You could just tell when they walking off the field, they were like, all right, we let that one slip away, but we're going to be all right. I felt the same thing last night. Now, are they going to go win 5 in a row like that team did? I mean, sure would be nice. Looking at the schedule, I mean, is it? And it's possible. I mean, it really is. I mean, you play like that, let's get to the schedule. I got Dylan in Northport, Florida, that's holding. Dylan, what's up, man?
Hey, Nick. Yeah, I was holding better than CD was onto those passes last night. That one, it hurts because that's the kind of game. Expectations out the window. They definitely played better than I think a lot of us expected, but that's the kind of game that you steal. And at the end of the year, you look back and you're like, thank God, because, we're fighting for the NFC East. We're fighting for second seed instead of, 6th or 7th seed. And it's like, those are the kind of games where it's like, man, if CD just caught a couple of those passes, we'd be in much better position at the end of the year. Shoddy, I know some people had issues, and I haven't been listening, so maybe some people have given him some credit, but Shoddy, just so much credit to him. And the play calling, as far as just, I'll call them big cojones plays, right? Like just having the guts on 3rd and 1 early in the game to go deep to Pickens. That sets the tone, and you drew the PI in that play. That sets the tone for not just this game, but hopefully the whole season where, okay, you want to single up either CD or Pickens? I don't care what the down and distance is. We're going to chuck it up because there's a good chance you get PI, good chance you make a catch. And hopefully we see more of that throughout the season. They ran the ball well. And if you told me, too, defensively, that they held Barkley to, 50 yards or so.
Yeah.
Diggs and Bland gave up 11 yards combined. Smith and Brown had, I think it was less than 20 yards combined.
Yeah.
And, we lose the game. You basically lost because Jalen Hurts converted a bunch of 3rd downs in the first half. That's one of the big stories of the game. And that was it. And, you can't just put a spy on him because now you're giving up a player to cover the other guys. So I get somewhat the understanding that of what we were doing on the defensive side schematically, sorry. But at a certain point, I would have personally put Leafau in the game to have him spy maybe, because that's why you're getting beat. So you got to at some point address that. And they did better in the second half, but I would have put him over Murray or Sanborn in the first half, I think, when, Hurts kept running for these first downs. But listen, I'm more optimistic for the season moving forward. I need to go back and look at the schedule to see who they're playing, to see what these next 5 weeks look like. But if this offense plays like that, man, I'm excited, very excited.
All right. Thanks, Dylan. And guess what? I have the schedule right here. I was gonna talk about it. it's funny how one game can kind of change your approach a little bit, and every game's going to be different. There's going to be some in there that really surprise you. That one was a surprise too. But when you look at, can this team get off to a good start? Yeah, that was a loss there against Philly. You got the Giants at home. You got to win. You have to win that game, and they probably should win. Well, we don't know what the Giants are going to do yet. I know they're going to have a pretty good pass rush, but that's a game at home you got to win. At Chicago, Chicago and the Cowboys are probably going to be those teams that are fighting for wild card spots. It's still early, but I'm just saying that's kind of what's being projected. And then, I don't know if you guys know this, but September 28th, the Packers come to town. I don't know if you've heard that or at all, and they have a new player over there, and assuming he can get over that nagging back injury, but I have a feeling he's going to be fine. And but that's a game, you got to win that one. It's going to be tough, but I mean that's one that I still think they have a shot after seeing what you saw there. If you break down the schedule, Giants at home, at the Bears, Packers at home, and then at the Jets, at the Panthers. So, and then Washington at home, and at Broncos, and Arizona, and at the Raiders, and all the way up until you play the Eagles again. So, seeing what we saw there, the standard is now high. It's like, if you want to say moral victory, that's fine, but you don't get two. You get the one, and now it's like, all right, should have won, you lost, but that doesn't happen again. Now it's like we know what you can do. It's like when you finally had a great report card after a while, and I'm speaking from experience, and you finally say, all right, I'm focused in, and you have a good 6 weeks, 9 weeks, whatever. Well, that's kind of the standard now, and now they know you can do it. So that's what you get held to, and that's where I think this team's going to get held to as well. All right, let's go to Josh in Princeton, Texas. Josh.
Hey, Nick.
How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. This is my second time calling.
Okay.
Just want to share my thoughts on the game.
Yeah, go for it.
So I'm encouraged by the offensive line play and just the offense in general. It seems to me that the offense looks a little more modern. I don't know if it's the way they're lining up, the motions, stuff like that. So I'm excited about that. Sure, we can blame the Miles Sanders fumble or the CD drops, but I think the game came down to not being able to contain the scrambles from Hurts.
Yep.
I think it just boils down to that. I mean, they figured something out after the weather delay, by sending pressure, but I think it just came down to not being able to stop him. Now, one thing I am worried about is I don't think the linebackers played particularly well. I need to see more from Kenneth Murray and Jack Sanborn. I felt like they were out of the plays too much and they were late. I saw the one stiff arm that Murray got. He just got obliterated, by Saquon. But I think we need to get better at linebacker. I think they need Overshawn more than ever. So hopefully he can get back. But I just wanted to share my thoughts.
Okay. All right, Josh, I appreciate it. Let's give an update on Overshawn. I mean, obviously, he won't be able to do anything for the first 4 games. He's on, injured reserve to return. So he will not be able to come back until at least the October 5th at the Jets game. That's the earliest he can come back. And I'm not sure if that's gonna happen for him that early, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm reluctant to see good and bad. I think, but in this case, I'm reluctant to say the linebackers, didn't play as well. That's a really challenging matchup. With the way the Eagles play. I mean, you have a quarterback that's built like a running back. I mean, they basically have 2 Saquon Barkleys, but one of them throws. That's basically what you have to do against them. And then, you get all the receivers locked up and everything. And then Dallas Goedert goes 7 catches on 7 targets. I mean, whenever they wanted to, they could get the ball to him. He didn't go crazy. He was 44 yards, but some of them were, first down catches, and they moved the sticks. And so I think let's just wait on the linebackers. But I mean, before we say, it's one game and all, and the same goes the other side. Cowboys offensive line didn't give up a sack. Well, the Eagles lost their best player right before the game, and we'll see what happens. Because next week, I know this. When you get to third and if you don't run the ball early and you get in a 3rd and long situation against the Giants, across the board, I don't know if I can name all of them, but the guy they just drafted, Carter, Thibodeau, I think they got Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns. I mean, they got guys. Right, so that's going to be a challenge too, and I'm not trying to get ahead of the Giants. All I'm saying is, let's just like I'm saying, let's hold off before we panic too much about linebackers. Some of the good things that we saw too that we're encouraged about. Let's wait and see. It's just one game, both sides of the ball. All right, let's go to break real quick here. Get one more break in, and we'll be right back after this.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
All right, Cowboys fans, this one's for you. Gillette's Best Shave has a new look this season, and they've got one that sticked out in Cowboys colors just for us. We're going to want to run, not walk to this one, y'all. The new Gillette Labs official Dallas Cowboys licensed razor isn't just Gillette's best shave. With 50% longer lasting blades than Fusion, it's the best a Cowboys fan can get. Get it while you can at Gillette.com/NFL. Gillette's Best Shave is also available as heated.
Back to Cowboys Storyline.
Countdown to game day at home starts with Rally Days, presented by SeatGeek. You can get a behind-the-scenes look at AT&T Stadium, meet the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders and alumni, play some game, win some prizes. Get your tickets at AT&TStadium.com/Rally Days. The next one is September the 13th, the day before the Cowboys take on the Giants. So you got a few days for that. If you're in the area, come out and check that out. All right, let's go to the phone lines again. Michael, Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Can you dig it?
Okay.
The cornerback room being in bad shape was exaggerated. The run game not going to do good against the Eagles. Exaggerated. The run defense exaggerated. Dak looked like mid-season form from 2 or 3 years ago. That dude is ripped now. My gosh. He didn't need to play any preseason. We went toe-to-toe with the defending world champs. We had the ball on the last drive where we could have won the game. It just didn't go our way. But these sports writers saying, Dallas is only going to win 7, 6, 7, 8 games, over-exaggerated. I give us a 12. That's what I took from that game. I would have loved to win, but I enjoyed the trip. 21-20 in the first half, and then 3-0 in the second. Right. I liked it.
All right. Well, it's the first game of the year. Now, I think, to be fair, what if the Eagles suck? We don't know that. I doubt it, but I'm just saying, what if it comes out that they're not as good? We just don't know that. It's one game.
Not gonna happen.
I don't think they do. I think they're going to be a good team, but from what it looks like, I think the Cowboys have chances to be really good too. But they need some of these guys to take that next step. I said Diggs, and you mentioned Diggs. I think we also need to talk about Tyler Guyton. I thought Guyton played a really good game yesterday.
Yeah, I forgot about him.
Yeah,
Yep.
he played well, especially for a guy that didn't practice much and looked like maybe he was going to be out for the season. And to come back and play that first game was a shocker that he was even ready, and he played well. And I saw like that dog, mentality for him. Didn't always see that his rookie year. Saw that more. So I think the offensive line is going to be pretty good. I hear the enthusiasm, and I agree with you. I'm just saying it's one game. We got to be careful on both sides of the ball. If we're saying, the Cowboys are going to win more games, well, they also have to make the plays. I mean, they were there, and that's a step up. They got blown out twice last year. They didn't get blown out. They went toe-to-toe, like you said, but they still got to make the plays at the end of the game. And when your best player is the one that didn't make the play, I mean, that's not a great sign. But I have a feeling he's going to be better than that. I definitely do. So that's at least somewhat encouraging. Let's go to Sergeant Sue. He's in Fort Worth.
What's going on, sir? Eddie's, everybody.
How are you, man?
Good, really good. Hey, I share the same sentiments as a lot of people regarding the game last night. One thing that I do want to point out, something that you've already pointed out, is the 3-minute offense, man. We were in the group chat last night, and I was just like, why did we decide to abandon the run here? I thought we were doing pretty phenomenally running the ball. I mean, it could be tailored by expectations, because I don't know whether a lot of us expected us to run the ball really well, but we were, and it got me excited, you know what I mean? One thing that I did like is the defensive adjustment, you know what I mean? I don't think Eberflus is really a blitz type of guy, but he realized that, we weren't getting home. He realized that, we needed to make an adjustment, and he did. And it was a very great adjustment, in-game adjustment, and that's something that coaching staffs of the past, maybe you don't really necessarily see that. I know that, Shoddy coming in, it was a really awesome thing to kind of see him and his game plan and his vision kind of come to fruition, and things start to work really well. And I want to say just one thing, for anybody listening, that, if you need any more reason to kind of be excited about Shoddy and kind of have faith in him, I want to point out that I think it was last week he was having one of his press conferences, and he was saying that how he had talked to the team, and he had to let them know, he kind of fired them up, and, we're going to the Eagles, defending champs, and this is that, and, did all this extra theatrics. And then he said that he went home and he lay down in bed and he thought to himself, what am I doing? I mean, this is just another game. And the reason why that excites me is because, coaching staffs, coaches, not only are they always evaluating their teammates, their players, but I think that was the indication that he's always constantly evaluating himself. And if that is any indication of what's to come from him and his self-evaluation and his willingness to be like, maybe I was wrong in handling this situation that way. Maybe I was wrong in handling this situation this way. Then maybe he's going to look back at the film and he's going to be able to not have pride and reevaluate and understand, hey, I have a lot of room to grow. And I think that's something that Shoddy had talked about a lot. But I think that he has a really great opportunity right now to show us that, and I'm a full believer of it, man. So, I told you I thought it was going to be 30-27. I knew that, I said Dak is daddy, you know what I mean, for the NFC East. Unfortunately, it didn't come out that way, but I wasn't too surprised by a whole lot of it, man. I'm still really optimistic about this team. I always tell the group chat, man, my delusion is delicious. I'm gonna keep on eating it, man. So, Go Cowboys! I appreciate you taking my call, brother.
All right, thanks, bud. Appreciate that. Let's go to one more caller here, Greg in Sacramento. He's next.
Hey, Nick, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm very frustrated, yet somehow optimistic still.
Yep.
I do like what I saw that in some of the things in that game yesterday. That initial drive, that first drive where they just ran, Javonte Williams ran down the field and, they went down and scored. That was an awesome drive. I feel like we have not seen that in some time from the Cowboys. Yeah. It did get a little frustrating, though, that they didn't continue to run in certain instances. I would say, both at the end of the half and at the end of the game. We were running so well. I don't know why they didn't just at least run a little bit more with Javonte. Maybe the fumble from Miles Sanders kind of scared him a little bit or something. I'm not sure, but I did like what I saw. I like what I saw from the defense. So like I said, I am still optimistic. I do have one question for you, though.
Okay.
If, Jalen Hurts was kind of killing us with his legs, do you know why the coaching staff wouldn't maybe put like a spy on him or something?
Well, my understanding about the spy is that, I mean, you can't. It's hard to do that with Philadelphia because Jalen Hurts isn't trying to run. He's trying to make plays down the field throwing the ball. But if he has to, he will. He's not trying to actually say, I'm going to go out there and find a running lane and go. He's trying to stand in the pocket. So if you put a spy on him, that's fine. Leafau, whoever it is, he can just stay there. But that means he's not guarding the running back out of the backfield. He's not guarding the tight end. I mean, teams have done that, and you can try to do that, but you also are taking away a player off the middle of the field for that, and so that's why they're good. I mean, that's why they have a running back that went for 2,000 yards. They've got a wide receiver that looks like a linebacker, and A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith, Heisman Trophy, type player, and he's number 2 receiver, and they've just got weapons, and Goddard's a really good complimentary player too. So I'm not saying that maybe they shouldn't have mixed it up, and they did mix it up a little bit, but that's what you give up when you go for the spy. You give that up. Now I'll say one point I wanted to make really from Sergeant Sue was saying calling about the preparation. Last year the Cowboys, I think they scored 1 or 2 touchdowns all year long in the first drive of the game and also coming out of halftime. They just didn't look prepared at times. This team comes out, scores the first 2 times of the game, scored their first 4 possessions, and then in the third quarter, I mean, they didn't score. But Miles Sanders goes 50 yards, and they're down there, and they ended up fumbling the ball. They're probably going to get a field goal, maybe even a touchdown. And, probably could have scored right there. I don't put that on the preparation or the adjustments. So coming out of the half and out of the game, they moved the ball and had chances to score, and that is encouraging for me. So, all right, great calls for you guys. I know it was a tough night, frustration, but also encouraging as well. It's going to be a long season. I mean, not to say that in a bad way. I mean, football season is a long season, and it's fun. We get to do this 16 more times at least. So we got a long ways to go. But as I've said several times, tough way to lose a game. Even tougher when you know that you had a chance to win. But having that chance to win against that football team in that circumstance, to me, that shows growth for what we've seen last year to this year. And I think everybody deep down is pretty excited about what this team could be this year. All right, great stuff. For Chris Beam, I'm Nick Eatman. We will see you Monday on Cowboy Storyline.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.